Okay, we are actually live on the air. Welcome everybody to the Ladies Only Hangout. My name is Katie Vega,
Yay.
and you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. Hey, everyone. This is Jamie Pelias. For those of you that don't know me, I'll tell you a little bit about how I got started on back in 2005. And you're probably, first of all, I want to say you're probably wondering why I'm in my car. I'm actually out of town, and I had to find Wi-Fi wherever I could. So no excuses, make it happen. So that's my little tip, my little gold nugget for you guys real quick is no matter what's going on, just make it happen, find a way, and I'm sure that you'll be able to make it happen. So I got started in 2005 when I was pregnant with my first child, and the reason I was looking for an online business was because, like most people, I wanted to be able to stay at home with my children, and I was already in a at-home job at the time, like a real, just regular job with a local company. But I found myself hitting a plateau, meaning like there was only so much money I could make, no matter how much I worked. There was just a minimum I could make, and I literally was just making ends meet. Like I was just barely getting by. Like I could just pay my bills and eat, and that was really it. And that to me wasn't living. I wanted something more, and especially since I was pregnant with my first child, I knew that there had to be something more than that. So for me personally, I looked at online marketing, internet marketing, network marketing as a way to be able to get past that glass ceiling that I was currently at. Long story short, I went through a lot of trials and tribulations with my life. Basically, I was in a really rocky marriage. I was in an abusive marriage for almost 8 years. My son that I was pregnant with, I ended up losing him. He was full-term stillborn. And so to say that my network marketing business was rocky as well would be quite an understatement, because a lot of things were going on in my life. There was a lot of times that I just took off, and there was a lot of times I found disappointments in the industry, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. I personally, until recently, didn't have a good sponsor, and this is, back in 2005 till now. I was the type of person that I had to go and find the information myself, because I didn't have a sponsor that could show me what to do or how to do. And I had people telling me buy leads, get on the phone, go do these meetings, go to these hotel meetings and stuff like that. And that didn't meet my personal preference for what a home business should be. If I'm in a home business, I should be able to run it how I want, and I should be able to be at home doing it. And personally, for me, calling leads was not something that I personally wanted to be doing. So, long story short, here I am with Empower Network, and that is thanks to a great friend of mine, Larry Rivera, who introduced it to me. I found out about it when I first started, and basically, at first I didn't see the vision. I didn't see the vision with Team Inspire or any of these things, but that was because I had just got out of that bad marriage I was speaking about. And so I took a year off, like kind of like a sabbatical, to really figure out what I wanted to do with my life and to get back to it. And here we are now with all these lovely ladies, and hopefully we'll have more ladies showing up to these calls and getting on these hangouts, because we're all here to work together, to inspire, to help each other, and to help each other grow. That's personally what I know that I'm supposed to be doing with my life, is helping other people see that online marketing, internet marketing, network marketing, these things can be tools that you can use no matter what background you've come from to actually excel. So that's a little bit about my journey and how I got here.
Cool. Do you want me to go next?
That's awesome. I love your story. That's a good thing. Jan, do you want to go next? Looks like it's just going to be us three chicas today.
Yeah.
Why don't you share with us kind of what your journey's been like, and kind of where you've been, and what brought you here to Team Inspire?
Okay. Well, I'm Jan Mawson. I'm actually in the UK, and she's one of the reasons that it's at this time that nice ladies have done it so it's not 2 o'clock in the morning for me. I have been self-employed for many years, mostly in offline businesses, and I've not had a job for many years for various reasons, other than now I've just got a little part-time job at the moment. But I'm an entrepreneur through and through, and I joined the traditional online, oh, not online, network marketing business first time. It was like Mary Kay, I think, back, I don't know, 20 years ago maybe, and that was all about the meetings and the parties. And at the time it wasn't too bad because I was very young and I had lots of friends and people who liked to party, and that was okay. But as I've got on, I've moved around. I haven't had so many local friends, and also I think that sort of way of running the business in the UK is a lot harder than we see in the States. When we see the States, it might be wrong, but it might be perceived perception. But over there, it seems to be much more a done thing. Over here, it's a bit frowned on sometimes that you do all those sort of parties and that sort of thing. So, but I couldn't give up the idea of the vision, because the leverage that you can see with a network marketing or a direct sales to have a business, it was just stunning. And I want to have my pension. Its normal pension was going to be absolutely ridiculous. Like I've been paying £40 a month for the last 10 years, and I'll be getting about £1,500 a year by the time I retire in another 25 years. So I don't really think that's going to get me very far. So I came across the Empower Network through Jason Cardamone, who I was with in another business of his, which is also can help with the Empower Network. I've been looking at blogging. I just set up a blog the hard way that takes ages and ages, and plugging everything in and doing all that. Just started it, and then I found out about Empower, and it just seemed a great way to go. And I love learning, and of course Empower's a lot about learning. The products are to do with learning, and I love personal development, so it's a win-win situation really for me. I've only been in it since January, so I'm just starting really, but I'm really looking forward to the journey, and I'm looking forward to sharing what I've learned with you guys and the rest of the team Inspire.
Yay, that's awesome. That's awesome. I could totally relate with what you were saying about the product-based venue that you were involved with, and I was sort of chuckling to myself because I actually did a company that was very similar to Mary Kay, and is also centered around women, and very heavily product-based, and I spent 4 years there. Had fun with it, and I really enjoyed my sponsor. I had a good sponsor, but I don't think that I did the personal development, the growth that I needed to do as a person was not present for me. They weren't real big on personal development, and it was a very I guess closed-in mindset about what you could actually aspire to accomplish with an opportunity like that. And so I didn't realize until after I got out of that, but how boxed in I really was. And there really is only so far you can go with an opportunity like that. So, but I'll go ahead and share a little bit about me and my online journey and kind of how I got started. I actually just cut a video on this, and it went way longer than I wanted it to. But if you haven't seen it, go to my YouTube channel and check it out, because you will laugh. Honestly, you will laugh. Some of the stuff I say in there, it's bad. No, but my name's Katie Vega, and I've been in the network marketing, direct sales, online marketing industry for about 14 years now. Got started back in the day when things were more belly to belly and in person versus through technology. And I actually responded to a newspaper ad, a little teeny tiny newspaper ad, something that talked about a whole lot of money and part-time hours, and I was like, well, I'm in. So I called, right, and set up my interview, and she told me to come in and dress business casual. So basically I did. Hang on one second here. Sorry, I had to get that out of the way. So, but anyways, I went in and I attended the business overview, right? It was the whole whiteboard presentation, and they were actually pretty high tech. They had this, you know, TV, and the company owner would, I don't know, he like satellited it. They satellited, you know, him in, and he would do his little 5-minute blurb at the end. But it was an okay company. They had decent products. I really did like their products. But what ended up happening is I wasn't really so much sold on the company or the products, or it was the vision that I was sold on. You know, I didn't know anything about, you know, how to research into your sponsor or what to look for. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so I sat here through this business presentation, and I heard something that totally changed my life, and that was the quote from J. Paul Getty, where he says, "I would rather earn 1% of 100 men's efforts than 100% of one man's effort." So
Absolutely.
yeah, I really tuned in with that. And, you know, so I kept going to these things, and it just became like more and more embedded in my mind. And there was something so unique about that. But I remember like going to this first business presentation, and I was just like so giddy, I could barely even stay in my chair. Like, you know, that feeling where you're just like, oh my God. Yeah, I was sitting there like at the ripe old age of 19 years old. Like, I mean, I was just, I could hardly contain myself, right? I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna have millions of dollars. Like, you know, it was so horrible, you know. So that's what I was thinking. I'm like, man, who needs a job? Like, I'm gonna quit my job, and this is gonna make me rich. You know, this is my, you know, walk to financial freedom. And you know, I was still very green in the industry. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I joined the business. I got talked into coming in at the very top package, which at that time was $5,000. And of course, you know, I didn't have $5,000 laying around. So I hated the words of my sponsor, and I went to my bank and I took out a personal unsecured loan for $5,000.
Boo.
And, well, that wasn't the worst part. I mean, a good investment is a good investment. You know, I think that if anybody knows that it is a legitimate money-making opportunity where you can truly leverage yourself, and you know, now I know things to look for that I didn't know about then. But
Right.
$5,000 to me, that's a drop in the bucket if you're going to invest in your education, or you're going to invest in,
Oh, I agree.
you know,
I was just saying boo because I know your story.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. So yeah, so I went and took out this $5,000 loan, you know, turned the money over, got started in business, did some paperwork. Well, the paperwork, I don't think it ever really got turned in, but so here's what happened. Within a couple of weeks of me signing up, and I actually rented out a desk, because back in those days they had an office suite inside of a building that they, you know, they rented this, and they would rent desks with telephones and phone books to other reps that were operating in that office. So I rented a desk, you know, a couple days a week, and I would go in, you know, 3, 4, 5 days a week, a few hours at a time here and there as I could. And I was a fan. I was a telemarketer, you know. So it's back in the days where you'd sit there with a phone book and a highlighter and a pen, and you would call people out of the white pages and sit there and make notes. And we had a script, you know, that we followed, but that's all it was. I was a fancy telemarketer, and I remember just feeling like I was spinning my wheels. I was frustrated because I didn't want to do that, but I believed, you know, so much in what J. Paul Getty said. You know, persisted on and gritted my teeth and just, you know, made it happen. So I did make my list of like 200 or 500 people or whatever, and I did actually fill some of the chairs for their business presentation, but I didn't get any sales, right? Like, things weren't happening. So, and you know, they had some other things. You know, of course, you could do like newspaper ads and all this stuff. I didn't have any money. You know, I was broke. I knew like, oh gosh, you know, I'm gonna have to start paying the bank back pretty soon. So, long story short, what ended up happening is my sponsor and her sidekick skipped town. They totally left town, took off with my money, took off with a bunch of other people's money. They were criminals, and yeah, so I had no product to show for my investment. I had no $5,000 to show for this, you know, debt that I incurred from the bank. Plus, I had to start making payments because the bank expected a repayment on that loan. And it was like, I don't even know. It was like at a 20 or it was the most wretched interest rate you've ever heard of. Because, you know, I was like 19 years old. I had no established credit. You know? Who does that? Who does that? So that's what I did. It was so bad. So yeah, they left. I had no sponsor. The office actually got shut down. They could not continue to operate that business, and the company actually ended up getting shut down as a result of like a whole ring of leaders that were working at a cooperative effort because they were just so overconsumed with greed. They got the entire company shut down. Left a permanent black mark on the CEO's name that, you know, really had nothing to do with him, but it was a very, very sad circumstance. So, you know, basically, what I did was I kind of just chalked it up to a bad experience. I left, and I came across something, I think probably, I don't know, maybe 3 to 6 months later. I came across another advertisement again in a newspaper. It was working with a lady that had kids. You know, I called her up. I liked her personality, and but I still had the vision of what J. Paul Getty said. Like, that never left me. So the whole time I'd been exposed to something, and I would go back to my job, and I'm like, oh, you know, I wasn't happy because now I knew that there was something better. So I got started in that, and I had a better experience. I learned some different techniques, but, you know, not techniques that anyone really wants to do. Like, we didn't ever call out of the white pages, but it was, you know, back then it was a lot of like hotel meetings and home meetings. Oh my gosh, if I told you guys what some of her best tactics were, you would die. Like,
I think you should tell us. I think that'll be fun.
Okay.
We should talk about some of like the worst marketing tactics we've ever done.
Oh my God, this is seriously the worst marketing tactic ever. Okay, so her best marketing tactic that she had was to go to the mall, make sure you had a stroller, and make sure you had a kid to put in that stroller, okay? And we would go and troll the aisles of the mall and strike up random conversations. Her favorite places to go were like the jewelry stores and try on jewelry that she knew she wasn't going to buy anyways, and then be like, hey, so do you make enough money here? Well, you should look at my business, and, you know, hand them a flyer or something. Or this is even better. This is classic. Go to the play area where there were other moms. It was so bad. I'm totally okay, but that was her best marketing tactic. I mean, who wants to do that? Who wants
hilarious.
to be a person?
Not me. Not me.
Right? And it was so bad. Like, we would go all the time, and mall security would just give us dirty looks because they knew what we were doing. And they had, you know, already told us a few times, hey, you know, you can't do that. You know, you're going to have to leave this area. One time we were actually blanketing cars out in the parking lot with flyers, you know, like under the windshield wipers. And mall security threw us off the property. Like, and people would just, you know, they would just like take a hold of that. Like, yeah, you know, if you're not being thrown out by security, you're not doing your business the right way. And now I look back and I'm like, that's so stupid. Who does that stuff? Like, it's really bad. It's really bad. Yeah. So I learned a lot about what I didn't want to do and what was not doing marketing the right way, because that definitely was not attraction marketing. That was stalker marketing. Right?
Yeah, I like that. We should coin that, stalking marketing. Yes.
We are. I'm totally coining that phrase. Are you a stalker marketer? Stop it.
It makes you feel like you can't even go out for dinner or something, doesn't it? Because if you go out for dinner or anywhere in public, you've got to take your flyers with you, and you've got to take your business cards with you, and you iron up anybody that's in the room that comes within. Did you have the 6 foot rule?
Right.
Where came within 6 foot, you had to approach them and find some excuse to give them a.
I know, and I hated that. I mean, I think there's a difference between the 6 foot rule and just throwing your message out, splattering it up on the walls everywhere. There's a big difference between that, and there are times and there are situations where, for whatever reason, want to say, hey, I don't know, if you know anything about online marketing, but check out what I'm doing. I think you would be a valuable asset to what we're doing over here. But there's a big difference to that and just, splattering it at, everywhere you go. It's just.
Well, yeah, one's a lot more, tactical as well as practical. Like Jan said, the 6 foot rule. Here in the U.S., it's supposed to be the 3 foot rule. So imagine that, Jan. I personally was never able to do that. I couldn't do it.
I was like 6 inches rule.
Right? Maybe even 3 inches, right? Hey, no. I personally was not able to ever do that. Like I would be like, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I thought something was wrong with me because I'm like, I just can't do it. Like, it's one thing, like Katie said, is if you see someone that could use your help and you recommend something to them because you know it could be useful to them. But it's another thing when you just start it's like graffitiing all over the place. It's horrible. You're reminding me of when I had to put business cards in diaper boxes at Walmart. Like that was horrible. She was I don't know, maybe 4 months old or something. Maybe. I think she might have been a little bit younger than that. I remember doing that and being told that this was a good strategy. This is a good marketing strategy. You know how many calls I got from those diaper boxes? None. Which doesn't surprise me, but that's probably the worst one that I've ever had to do was that. Yeah, definitely.
And I don't think I ever got anyone with a 6 foot rule either. At the end of the day, it was still always people, all that heartache. I mean, I might actually get people to go. The strategy for the company I was with after Mary Kay was the circle, and you had to you joined the business, then you told other people about it. You did your list, then you contacted your list, then you invited them to the business opportunity, and then they joined, and it was supposed to go around like that. And I think that anybody that joined was from my list, not from all that chasing around moles and sticking things on window screens and things like that. But hey, we've got such a better way to do it now, haven't we, girls?
We do.
Absolutely.
We do. So Dan, I want to hear a marketing horror story from you. Now that Jamie and I have totally spilled our worst marketing stories ever. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I've done all of the above. I think I remember one time there was one lady who was really good at street marketing, as it were, and going and grabbing people in the street. And she took me under her wing because my sponsor lived miles away and I didn't get much direct help really. It's one of those where you have to prove yourself before you actually got any help, which was a bit sort of a roundabout face, if you like. And she took me to this shopping mall and we were speaking to all these people, and I was feeling sick, and time to do it. And then she dragged me and took me into this, what do you call it, holiday, like a travel agency. And she took me to the lady there, and she said, "Oh, can I help you?" "Oh yes, we'd like some brochures of where would you want to go then, Jan? Where do you want to go? What beautiful places do you want to go? When are you earning all this money with our business?" And
oh my god,
oh my god, that's really good.
And she was like, "Okay, oh well." I was like, and then she tried to think of some, and she said, "Yes," and she kept looking at the lady and said, "You'd be good at this, you know. Why don't you look at this business?" And I was just cringing. It was pretty horrendous.
Oh my
And
goodness.
needless to say, and I tried to ring her a few times afterwards, like I was like to be told to do, and she wouldn't have anything to do with it. But it didn't work. But the brochures were
that's
nice.
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see a lot of those type of sneaky, slimy, you know.
It makes you feel. It just makes you feel it slimy.
Yeah.
When you're doing all that.
Nobody wants to do that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes you feel like your thing's dirty. You know what I mean? And who wants to feel dirty about what you do? You know, like you're supposed to feel good about what you do, not like there's something wrong with it, like you got a disease or something, right? Like, no, that's not good.
Like,
no one wants
so
to feel like
that.
And that's what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great news.
You know, like how like a lot of like network marketers joke about, you know, people like your friends and your family no longer want to talk to you anymore, and you know, thankfully for me that never happened, because I refused to make my list. Like I really, I would start to make it, and I'd be like, no, like I was just defiant. Like I was like, I'm not cold calling. I'm not making these stupid lists. I'm not putting these cards in these baby diaper boxes anymore. Like, none of it made sense to me, you know? And like Jan was saying, like, now we have something so much better. We don't have to do all that crazy stuff anymore. We don't have to go, like, hunt people down or stalk them down in the streets, like, looking around the corners. No.
Well, isn't it so funny when you have that mindset shift, when you, you know, start working with Team Inspire, how your entire mentality, not just business-wise, but your, you know, your personal life, your relationships, you know, just everything, you know, family, but really your concepts of how business works and your entire mindset of what actually attracts success is being shaped and molded through all these experiences and the education and the support that's provided for you. I mean, it's, to me, that's really more can do with that. But isn't it funny that when you know, are around that stuff, you know, you look back on things that you did and you're just like, oh my gosh, like I can't, you know, you're no longer taught to be the hunter, because you are the hunted. People come to you. People want to work with you, and they start hitting on things that you're doing. They start liking things that you're doing, because why? Because you have a business and you have a life too, and you're not a stalker. Like you're not stalking moms and malls anymore. You know?
Can you imagine having to do it? It's just brought it all back. Can you imagine having to go back and do that again now? It just makes my stomach turn to think about it. No way I want to do it
I
anymore.
will never go back.
No way.
I will never ever go back to doing that. Like, ever.
No
Now
way.
that I know
There's
what I
no
know,
reason.
and
There's
I
always a
know
better
better,
way.
there's no way to unlearn what I know, unfortunately. So I know that I can work less and earn way more money. I would never go back to the marketing methods I used. I would never go back to purchasing, like this one company I was with. I had a 4-year-long career with them, and I actually made some money residually with them. I had a small team built and everything. It was a good experience. I was surrounded with good people. I did learn, you know, a lot of things. I learned more about what I didn't want to do than what I did want to do. But sorry guys, of course when you're on a hangout, everyone wants to call. But no, but they used to push like hardcore so much, buying these cold opportunity leads, so that you would have people to talk to. Well, it's true, you need people to talk to, but I will never. I just remember sitting there with the feeling of dread. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be on the phone for the next, 5 days trying to plow through, these 500 leads, and just being on the phone for hours and hours. You leave messages, you send follow-up emails, and they're calling you back, and it's a whole mess. And they're like, well, where did you get my name and number? I didn't sign up for anything like that. And it's just a whole mess. Like, it was very rare to find a person that was like, yes, I'm looking for an opportunity. What do you got? But for me, I small children, and being on the phone for 6 to 8 hours a day. Are you kidding me? Who wants to do that?
And the thing is, if you got good at it, and not saying that you weren't, but I mean, the better you get at that, the worse it is, because then you've got to teach the other people how to do it, and then you can just be doing more of it all the time. So it's just like a spiral of doom. More time spent, and you're teaching your team to do that, and they're not going to want to do that either. So it's not a good formula. I think Tony Rush was the biggest one for that, wasn't he? And he said that that's what happened to him, and he got burnout, and he's so pleased to put down the phone and pick up the paycheck.
Right. Well, the few times I did call leads, I do remember, like, there was this level of anxiety, like, knowing you had to pick up that phone and call someone that probably really didn't want to be talking to you, and just dealing with, like you said, Katie, like, people like, how'd you get my number? Or, well, I didn't, don't ever call here. Or, just all this negativity. And even if you're really good at it, like, it's not something that's extremely duplicatable, because not too many people are really good at doing phone sales, realistically, And I mean, I even, like, did telemarketing a few times, throughout, like, my, high school years and, like, early college and stuff like that, and it was just horrendous. Like, it really was a chore to keep on picking that phone up over and over and over again, and know that there was, like, a good 99% chance the person was going to say no. And it's not duplicatable. It's not something that's duplicatable for the masses, and it's not something that the majority of people want to be doing anyways. No. So I knew for me, like, there had to be a better way. And one of the things that was interesting in the same business, that they actually got me to make a couple phone calls, and they got me to, put these cards in these little diaper boxes and all this weird stuff. I'm picturing this in my head, and I'm like, I remember, like, looking around, like, is anyone watching me? Like, I hope not,
I know.
Like, I'd be like, my now ex-husband, but my husband at the time, I'd be like, Chaz, is anyone looking? Like, it was horrible. It was just so humiliating. Like, no one should have to go through that to build a business, and you don't have to. One of the other things that I was just thinking about, like, when we were talking about this stuff, that really frustrated me at first was, I actually had a degree in advertising and design, so I knew a lot about advertising that the majority of people wouldn't. And what kept tripping me out was, I knew in my head, target my market, target my market, target my market. And they kept telling me to target everybody, and I'm like, there's no way everybody's my market, And it was something that I was like, I felt like something just was not right, like, in my spirit about it, because, like, they kept telling me to do the absolute opposite of what I actually learned to do, and I was like, this just doesn't seem right, but they were making more money than me, so of course I was like, all right, let me try their way for a little bit, see what happens. But guess what happened? After I left that company, because I was frustrated, I was tired of, like, being lied to, and I felt like I was just running in circles. When I started doing some more research, what did I find? That the real marketers, what were they doing? They were targeting their market, and they were using the things that I learned, in my college years and stuff like that, to do the same thing, and they were making way more money than these other people who were doing the, 3-foot or 3-inch rule or whatever you want to call it, stalker, whatever. But
the 3
it was just
centimeter
insane,
rule.
Right. Like, that's what I love about with Team Inspire and the things that we're learning is that when I learn the stuff in our back office, most of it is like, it makes sense in my head. Coming from an advertising and marketing background, it makes sense. I know that the techniques, if I apply them, they're going to actually get me results because they're not outlandish. They're not something that, that other people can't do or maybe don't want to do. They're simple and they're effective and they're up to date. Like, that's another thing that I love is that while the core principles of marketing always stay the same, there's always new methods that are coming about that can really help you leverage your business and leverage your time. And what I love about with Team Inspire and everything that we have is that we're constantly getting re-educated and refined on what's new, what's hot, but not what's just hot, but what's actually hot and working. And that's
Right.
what I really love about it. Like, it's like a super, yet mini education in online marketing and internet marketing, with, like you said, Katie, earlier, stuff that actually helps you in your personal relationships too. And I think that's the most beautiful part is I've seen so many people that maybe didn't have any confidence, start to go through the training and they gain confidence in themselves. And when a person has confidence that they can be successful, that they're worth something, that permeates in the rest of their life. It permeates with their relationship with their husband or their wife or their kids, or if they're still working at a job. Like, these things are skills that people need for a life. And that's one of the things that I love the most about it is that it's pure gold. It's just pure gold, and it's things that we all should be using in our lives no matter what we're doing.
Yep. Amen to that.
And one of the products, absolutely, going on from there, the Inner Circle products, which are the recordings that you just listen to the audio. And one of the core steps that we're given in Power is to listen to something 30 minutes positive every day, which is obviously easy to do if you're in a circle. And 99 times out of 100, I'll listen to something on the way to work, even though it's not a very long trip. But and when I'm getting dressed in the morning, and when I'm doing anything that's not having to, like, I can't do it. I'm not like you. I can't type Katie and listen to something completely different at the same time. When I'm doing a blog, I don't do it. But if there's nothing else, anything that I'm not using my brain for, kind of thing, at the time, I'll listen to it. But but if I haven't, for some reason, if I've got something on my mind when I get up and I haven't listened to the audio or any of the audios or anything, and by the time I get to work, I'm sort of like not dead, but there's no life, in my mind. Whereas if I'm listening to one of the audios on the way in, I'm just so pumped up and enthusiastic, and it just changes your day. And even if you're working a full-time job, it'll help your employers as well, because you're going in feeling happy and inspired, team inspired, and great. Whereas if you haven't listened to things and you haven't been doing any learning from Inner Circle or any other form of personal development, you'll not be improving their day. You'll probably be feeling miserable. And I know one of the Team Inspire guys, because we do have guys as well, obviously, everybody, it's just like you tonight, but he's called Positive Paul now at work. Have you seen that? Because he's changed his personality so much, not in a positive way, that he's now being called Positive Paul at work, so that can't be a bad thing all around, really, can it?
Right. And they also they're letting him have like a quote of the day, like Paul's quote of the day. Like, how awesome is that? Could you imagine, like, you totally like plan on leaving this job eventually, but you're adding so much value where you're planted that they're like, oh, Paul, like, you get a quote of the day. Like, how amazing would that be? Like, how much would that boost you up? Like, yeah, maybe you don't want to be at this job forever, but you're working there and you're using what you're learning, online to apply it to your offline job or your business for that matter. And it's getting you results. Like it's making you prosper where you're planted. That's a beautiful thing. Like he's changing other people's lives. And why? Because he took the trainings and he's applying them in his life.
Right.
I don't know. Like that's just amazing to me. That's beautiful. Like who wouldn't want to have their work say, yo, we want you to do a quote of the day. Like we love what you're putting out there. Like we're going to give you your own spot on the board. Here you go.
Well,
do your thing. Like that would encourage you.
I mean, they've obviously noted a huge, change in him and his mindset. I mean, that's like what I love so much about this is, even if you're coming in, like you said, and maybe you've battled with your self-confidence and, your journey and maybe some of your marketing methods, maybe you're not a seasoned person in the industry and you're coming in totally green, you have no idea, you really don't have a lot of experience with like social media and stuff like that. It's so simple, stupid that, you can work with your mentor and you can devise a plan as to how maybe you should get started. I mean, there's so many, and which, by the way, is being constantly updated, but there are so many things to plug into that just, like you said, impact and they bleed into other areas of your life. That's impactful.
And going back to positive Paul, if he'd have been doing some other old-fashioned way of doing the business like we were talking earlier, and he'd approached all these different colleagues at work, they'd probably not all avoid him as soon as he came in the room. They'd be running out the door. But he's doing this way. I bet how many people thought, oh goodness, what's he on? I want some of what he's on.
Right, they want to know. Yeah, now they're curious instead of like like avoid that guy Paul over there. Like they're wanting to know. It's a beautiful.
Like every time they see you at the water cooler or the coffee machine, and they all like vacate the area, right? They're all like, oh gosh, what's he gonna sell us now?
Yeah, you don't want to be that person. And so many times, when people get into this business, they're taught to be that person that like goes and like hunts down people at the water cooler or whatever. And then people are like, most companies probably have some kind of policy against doing that anyways. Like, I mean, I know where I was working when I was doing one of those makeup companies too. I think the same one Katie used to do. You had to be all like, slick and like undercurrent stuff about like, passing out your brochures and seeing if any ladies wanted some makeup, you know what I mean? And then like having to deliver, their makeup goods to them. Like, who wants to do that? Like, you don't have to deliver anything. You don't have to go.
Hey, girls' restroom, 5 minutes. Girl, I got your lipstick. Like, who
you
does
don't
that?
have to do any crazy stuff. Like, it's beautiful. Like, it's freeing to know that you can work smarter. You can actually work less, which I know that sounds crazy, but like you really can work a whole lot less. Like I used to work insane hours, and I know some of you ladies and other people watching this can relate to that. A lot of times when we get started in this industry, we end up finding ourselves working more than we probably were at a full-time job. I know that's what happened to me at first. Like I was like working insane amount of hours, and you're told like, put in those hours, like it's gonna, pay off in the end, and this and this, and you're really like looking, and you're like, I'm sorry, but like what happened to that time freedom you told me about? Where is that? Because I don't see it anywhere. As a matter of fact, I'm working more, sleeping less, spending less time with my family. Who wants to be doing that? Like it's horrible.
Yeah.
And there is a better way. And with Team Inspire, like the methods that we use, you don't have to work 40 plus hours a week. Obviously, if you want to, you can. But I personally don't. I don't know about you girls. I don't.
Yeah, you don't want to be preaching the dream and living the nightmare.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's why I walked away from the industry a little over 4 years ago, because I was burned out. I was sick and tired and sick and also tired and
sick and tired
and sick and tired. No, I mean I literally was. I had literally like worked myself into illness because I was burning the wick at both ends. Like I was up early, I was up late, I wasn't spending time with my kids, my house was neglected, my kids were neglected, I was on the phone all the time. And it just aggravated so much frustration with my kids, like, oh my gosh, why can't they understand? And why are they always, You know, they would do these things to distract. Well, it was because they needed my attention. The whole thing of it is that I was building my business the wrong way, and here I was banging my head against the brick wall for 4 years, calling leads. I don't know about the diaper thing, Jamie, but here's what I was told to do. Here's what I did. Right? Trailing along with all my little munchkins in the Walmart. Is anyone looking? Okay, you look that way. Okay, you look that way. Okay. And I would take the baby formula and lift up the plastic lid, you know, because there's like the foil airtight seal like under the plastic lid. And I would have my kids like on watch out, and I'd be slipping my business card under the plastic lid, and you know, these people were just like walking around, you know, looking at like, what is this girl doing? You know. And that's,
Katie, that might have actually been worse than having to slip it into the diaper box. Like, I didn't have to physically lift anything up. I don't know, girl. That might be worse.
It's totally worse. It's totally worse. We were told to like go get Post-it notepads, okay, and either stamp them with our message or get them pre-printed. And every time we had I don't know about you, but most everything I've ever seen written in a stall is not something that I'm really going to take a note of and go call when I go home. Can you relate with what I'm saying right now? Like, who does these things?
Oh, well, I guess at least they told you to use a sticky note instead of like a Sharpie. I mean,
right?
Could have been worse.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, there's so many nightmares. Like, there's so many things I could tell you that I did resist. I mean, I've blanketed cars, I've blanketed neighborhoods, I've gone door to door. Like, oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I'm so glad that I don't have to do any of that anymore.
I thought you were going to say you had the sticky note and you had to go and stick it on people's backs as you were walking around the store.
Oh my goodness, no, I would have never done that.
Like, excuse me, sir, on your back.
No,
so when you took the coat off, then
I would have quit. But yeah, I mean, all the methods that they, you know, taught in every company I was ever with, every company I ever looked at, they were all the same. They all teach you to be these slick, slimy, you know, salespeople, because you need people, and it's true, you need people to talk to. You need prospects really in anything in life if you're gonna open up your scope of opportunity. You need prospects, and this is true of any business or really anything in life. And but every company I was ever involved with, or any company I ever looked at, all taught the same garbage. It was all, you know, the 3-foot rule. You know, everywhere you go, dropping off a business card or flyer, or carrying it with you, so that you were prepared at all times. It was, you know, blanketing cars. It was blanketing parking lots. It was going to the mall. It was working yourself into situations belong in. Like, they weren't situations that were naturally occurring where it just came up because you have a commonality with that person about whatever your business is centered around. And I hated that. I just really hated that. I would go to like secondhand clothing stores and I would, you know, leave stacks of flyers and postcards. I would do postcard marketing and all kinds of stuff, and I hated it, you know. But it's,
so
you know, they're all teaching the same garbage, and it's, you know, kidnap your, you know, your neighbors, your friends, and your family. Kidnap them, right? And we've all heard this one. There's going to be a hotel meeting in your area on Saturday. I don't care what you do, but you better fill that room with some warm bodies. As a matter of fact, you need to just grab people by the hair, shove them in your car. Don't even tell them who you're taking. So we are condoning kidnapping, which I'm pretty sure is against the law in most states.
Pretty sure.
Right?
Yeah, just maybe.
Maybe. encourage you to shove them in your car and drive them to some unknown location. Like, you know, what's next? Should they say, oh, you need to blindfold them too? Like, and then you get to the hotel, and your friends and your family, you know, that you have to continue to have a personal relationship with because you work with them or they're in your family, are like, are you serious? Like, what are you doing right now? Like, they don't even want to go in. Who wants to do that, you know? So slimy.
So what's great about the attraction marketing is that we just put the message out there, and that the people that are looking for it will find us. And how much easier is it for somebody to ask you to join your business and you go out and try and find them? I mean, it's like, not everybody is in the market, as you say. The people that are in the market will be looking for the opportunity, and all we have to do is get ourselves out there so they can find us.
Absolutely. And Jan, like that's the beautiful thing. Like when you start sharing your story, you start blogging, you start doing video marketing, people are going to find you. It's just, you know, inevitable that eventually those things are going to start going, and it's like a snowball effect. You know, you start getting a couple leads, and then all of a sudden more and more, and it just keeps growing. The more that you do, the more that it grows. And what's beautiful is that the stuff that you did, you know, even a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, will still be working for you even now. Like, that's what I love about it, is that, you know, like when you're doing cold calling, the chances that that lead's going to call you like in a year from now are pretty slim, if not like astronomically slim. So when you're doing these online, on the online marketing, these great tactics and stuff, like it's almost like you're building like an empire of leads for you that will keep coming over and over as time goes on, because that's how it works. When you're blogging and you're doing video marketing and maybe article marketing and some other different tactics, these things stay, you know, in the search engines indefinitely, you know, unless you take them down or someone else, you know, whatever. But for the most part, indefinitely, these things are working for you over and over and over and over. So, you know, I see some people sometimes get discouraged. They're like, well, you know, I don't want to blog, or I don't want to do video marketing, but they don't realize like the power of that this stuff is still working for you years later, months later. You know, I've had, you know, I actually used to help clients get leads and stuff like that online, and I would do like ghost writing and things like that for them. And I remember like how cool it was, like when I would get a client that would call me up and go, Jamie, oh my God, like I just got leads from stuff that you did for me like a year ago. Like, how is that even possible? And I'm like, because it's online. You know, when you have that real estate online, it's working for you all the time, and that's one of the beautiful things. Love it.
And that's why, I mean, you see some comments in the Empower Network back office when you join about people who say, oh, I've done 2 blog posts and I haven't got anybody in my business yet. and the point is that it's a thing that goes over time. The longer you do it, if you do the blog post every day like you're supposed to do, then in 3 months' time you'll have like 90 posts, 90 more possibilities of somebody going to see that site. That's just not like 90 people, that's 90 times whatever, infinity of people going to see your site, your post. And also the incredible thing about it is if you do what the posts correctly in terms of the search engine optimization, and that sounds really scary if you've not done anything like this before, but there's a little tool in your blog post that I can't see my hand. Little tool in on the blog where you put your post in, which is so easy. You just put your keyword in, and then you in your post you do stuff, and you can see on this little tool whether or not you've done the SEO correctly. I mean, you know, an idiot could do it like I can do it, you know. But and then if you look within hours, sometimes, I mean, definitely within hours, and if you've done a YouTube video with it as well, within hours you can put your keyword in Google and you sign out of Google so you're not skewing results. and you can get there on the first page, you know, like within hours. Which if you're doing it on your own blog, you know, that it'd take a heck of a lot longer than that to get your blog into such a position where you'd be able to get on the first page within hours.
Absolutely. Unless, you know, you already have like a super high ranked blog, you're just not going to get those type of results anywhere else. And that's one of the things, like even someone that just gets started blogging, you're going to have much more of a chance of getting on the first page of Google, like Jan was talking about, when you use the tools that we have. And like she said, like, it's newbie friendly. Like, Jan, before you started working with Team Inspire, did you actually blog before?
I'd only just started, only like a month before probably, and I'd gone through another online training program which was very famous in its time, but it was completely out of date, and all the things that, or not all the things, the blogging things were still kind of relevant, but I did it such a hard way, and it was all the plugins and finding out about, I can't even remember all the things you have to do now. It was such a long time ago. But I think if anybody wasn't techie, weirdly, I don't know why, I seem to be a little bit techie, and in terms of I love it, I love learning it. But it took me, you know, hours and hours and hours to set it up, and there's no way, like most of the people I know personally would have had a clue how to do that, even with instructions, if it was so complicated. So this was just easy. It's just like, as long as you can switch the computer on, go and you can type, and you can go into like a Word document. It's just like doing a Word document in terms of how simplicity it is. So, you know, I kept thinking, oh, I'll keep the other blog up as well. You know, I've taken all those hours to set it up. It's such a waste of time, but there's just no point. just do the Empower one. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, it's absolutely a lot easier. Like for me, one of the things I had to get over is being someone that can do graphic design and can build blogs and stuff, and I've done that for clients. At first, I was kind of like, why do I need something that's already built for me that, you know, does this, does that? Like, hello, I could just go create as many blogs as I want and just, you know, make them all pretty or whatever, you know, and just do my own stuff. Like, I at first didn't see like how powerful it was for me. A lot of people don't realize that if you already have your own blog that you're working on, that you can actually backlink with the blogs that we're using to that. And because it's a network blog and it's on an edge domain, and there's so many people adding valuable content on a regular basis in this network, that you can get some really powerful link juice back to your regular blog. So once I realized that, and realized, you know, the search engine traffic and the SEO and everything like that, like, that's when it dawned on me, like, it doesn't matter, I can do all this stuff on my own. It really doesn't, because not only is that really not duplicatable, because most people can't do all that stuff on their own, but it helps me even if I can do all those things on my own.
Yeah, totally agree.
Hey guys, what I missed? Sorry, I had
to. about how easy the Empower Network blog is to your own blog. It's a lot, just plug and play. And it's losing ego. I think there's one of the Inner Circle trainings about you can either have an ego or you can earn a lot of money, basically. And if you think you're right all the time and you have to do it all your way and you have to do everything yourself, you're either going to, you know, you're going to burn yourself out and or not earn as much anyway. So what's the point, really? You have to swallow your ego and just say, let's just go with the flow. Let's do this the simple route and help everybody else to do the same thing.
Absolutely. I heard you girls talking about, you know, all the funky, complicated, technical. I just want to have fun. I don't want to have anything to do with any of that stuff. I'm just here to have fun and make money, and I don't know.
And if you don't like it, see your way out.
Right.
Hmm. So any final thoughts from anyone?
I can learn like a little bit here and there and like maybe apply it, but really for me it's the mindset stuff. And I think that there's so much that's offered on Team Inspire. It's really for every type of personality. There's something that they can reach in and take from that, and it's going to grow them as a person. It's going to grow them in their business in, you know, one way or another. Like, you don't have to be innately in tune with all the SEO stuff in order to be successful in the business. You know, maybe there's something else that you will latch onto and be good at. But yeah, that's too much noise for me.
Well, it's something for everyone. There's a different way. There's different ways to do it. You can either go through the if you've got money, you can go through the advertising way, and in the 15 pay it teaches you all about how to do it with the advertising, how to succeed. Or if you haven't got money and you can write, or even if you can't start, you learn how to get through it. That's the way you want to go. You can go that route. And there's somebody, even if the person that's sponsored you doesn't do, this is a great thing, like we were saying before, with the old businesses where you had to, Jamie had to be taught, I was taught to stick the things in the diaper boxes, or the nappy boxes as we call them over here. She had to do that because that's all she knew, because that's what she was taught by that person. But with us, apart from the whole different type of training in Empower Network itself, there's always somebody in Team Inspire that will, somebody will do it the blogging route. Everybody blogs, but that's what they may specialise in doing, the actual trying to get the blogging working for the business, or there'll be somebody else that does the advertising. So if your sponsor is all big into advertising, and that's what they know to lead you down, but you've got no money to start with, then you can look in elsewhere in the team, and we're all happy to help each other. We're not what's the word? We're not jealous about our own people. We'll all help each other, and that's what the really nice thing about it.
Yeah, our team, we've got a pretty cool collection of people just from really varied backgrounds and varied experiences. I mean, we have people that have a lot of experience just in the online marketing industry, period. There's other people that are completely new to that. We have people that are technically inclined, people not so much. No, but there's a really big variety in there. I really think that's cool because like if I ever have a question about something, or like, hey, how does this work, or like, there's always somebody I know I can go ask, and I'll reciprocate the favor as well if they're having questions or issues with something that they don't know how to do, or where can they find such and such. So I really love that it's a nice mashup of all these different backgrounds and people. And what can I say, like, the ladies portion is growing by the day. We're blowing it up.
Looking forward to seeing a whole lot more ladies. We definitely have a more male-dominant team, but like you guys are talking about, like, what I mainly love about Team Inspire is that it doesn't matter really who brought you in to Team Inspire, because we all really do work together, and we help each other. Like, it doesn't matter, like, no one's like, oh, well, I'm not helping so-and-so because I didn't sponsor them, or there's none of that cattiness or that nastiness. Like, it really is a team environment. Everyone really is working together, and because we have so many different backgrounds and types of people and everything like that, we have anything that you can think of that you would need or want to know, there's always someone there that's going to be able to answer you, or at least point you in the right direction. And that's definitely my favorite thing. Ladies, I know that, like, we've gone a little bit past an hour. Is there any other final?
No, just the final thing for me then. On that, we all helping each other type of thing. I mean, as you know, I'm in the UK. I'm 5 hours ahead of you guys, so for me now it's nearly 9 o'clock at night, and I'll be going to bed shortly. But if I'd have got somebody in my team in America, and then they would be trying to get, they wouldn't be able to get hold of me when I'm fast asleep. They could just go into our Team Inspire Facebook page and put a shout out to anybody who's online. So we're like a 24-hour business. It's help support.
It is. We got people from all over the world in there. So yeah, it's great. It's great. No, I think that's it for today, Jamie. I really enjoyed our talks, and we're gonna have to expand more maybe on some of these topics next time. We can continue on the conversation. Maybe we'll make it like, you know, Coffee Monday next time. Here I'm slurping on a Monster, but you know how I roll. I
have some water, but I'll have some. I can maybe have some like herbal tea or some coffee or something next time.
There you go. We'll do like a coffee or tea or something next Monday. We'll have to like start putting themes like coffee and brownie, ladies only hangout or something. But
and for the UK,
bring your chocolate and tune in.
Well, that's good. I think this went really well. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you ladies today. And for anyone that gets to watch this later on, you know, whoever brought you to the video, you know, please get back with them. If you enjoyed, you know, our banter and our, you know, being real and serious, like, we hope that you tune in next week, because we'll be doing this every Monday indefinitely, and then some. So we look forward to getting to know everyone and hopefully having some more ladies join us on the call.
Yay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Take care then, guys. See you next time.
It was great connecting with you girls again. We'll see you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.